Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Love Our Lovecast podcast.
Lovecast is good. We used to say that.
Okay. As always, we're going to start off the podcast by thanking our sponsor. They are a tour sponsor, podcast sponsor, and that is none other than African Pride. Thank you so much for partnering with us through the tenure of the tour. As you know, we're giving out free boxes of product. It has curl cream, it has edge control, it has a scarf, it has like an edge brush, it has all the things out for free. All you have to do is go on to Kevin's Instagram page.
Why would you do this to me?
Go on Kevin's Instagram page and type the word, I don't know, what should they do? At Miss Kev on stage.
Sure. Spam my comments with Melissa's name.
Spam his comments, whatever his most recent Instagram picture is at the time that this drops. Spam it with Miss Kev on stage, and we will randomly pick a winner from there. All right, let's get started with the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Love Our Love podcast. I'm your host, Miss Kev on stage.
You did that again.
I know. I don't know why. I'm joined by my husband and co-host,
the Kev on stage.
And if you're wondering what we're doing and why we're looking the way we're looking, specifically me, I'm not glammed up.
You look beautiful though.
At all. I feel like I look 15.
With the braids?
Yes, with the braids and like the no makeup. Like I literally feel like I'm about to go to PE.
You got something white in your braids.
We'll take it out.
It's like you like rubbed it against something.
Oh, it's from being on the plane.
It has to be from the plane.
I have no idea what it is.
We're in Chicago, by the way.
So we're in Chicago at Jason's brother's house.
No, Kevin's brother's house.
Right.
Let me
Kevin's
just pause
brother's
this for a
house.
second and show you this man's backyard area. I mean, look at this.
It's so nice.
I mean, come on here. We tried to shoot this way, but it was just too hot.
Right.
This man's just out here living his best life, ain't he?
It really is. So, for you audio listeners, you didn't get that.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry about that. I forgot, audio listeners. Yeah. Just imagine gardens. You hear some bugs.
Yeah.
Just
it's a beautiful
guys.
day,
We wanted to get the podcast up.
We needed to get the podcast up, but we yesterday I had a gazillion things to do because we were in town basically for like a day and a half, and I needed to get my hair braided, and they filmed the other podcast. I had a doctor's appointment. I had a bunch of things to do.
That was a lot.
Yeah, it was just a lot.
We had to go to dinner with the baby.
Yeah, it was just a lot getting done or trying to squeeze into like, a very limited time period. And so we decided to film in Chicago. We were initially going to film with Tammy, who is Jason's wife, which, by the way, while we're here, we got to say thank you to everyone who supported and watched and like all the comments and love for the last episode. I want to say I have like 22,000 views on my YouTube page on that.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the biggest one?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But thank you guys so much for Miss Kev on Stage Book Club. 35,000.
Wow. All we did is cry the whole time.
Yeah, seriously.
Thanks to Melissa.
So thank you guys.
I was mad for real. I don't know if y'all
there's
thought
a
this was
bunch of people that are like, I'm mad at Melissa too.
Good.
I mean, everyone's like playing, but I mean,
I ain't.
I'm not playing. I get how like it was an emotional episode, and Jason was even saying like the outpouring of love and support has just been like so overwhelming.
Yeah, he said he can't even watch the episode.
I didn't want to, and then I ended up watching it like
crying again.
Yeah, so that was.
I was crying just trying to cut a little piece to promote it. I cried. I was like, man.
Yeah, it was a lot going on. So anyway, thank you guys so much for that. We appreciate the love, appreciate the support, and it's by far the biggest episode that we've had thus far. I need to put it on your page.
You keep saying that, but you don't do it.
You need to just give Serena access so she can do it.
Ain't nobody getting the password. Oh, Kev on Stage Studios or? Mm-mm. Oh no, I don't give the password out. Josh don't even have that. No one has that password but you.
Yeah. So, anyway. Thank you guys so much, and just bear face. Melissa, this is my face. But we're gonna start with our this or that question.
That or this.
That or this. in the title, she said this and that in the subject line. So these are listeners submitted. So thank you guys for submitting these. If you're interested in submitting a that or this with Kevin list question, you can send them to hello@thelovehour.com. The question is, or she says, hi guys, faithfully watch anything from Kev on Stage Studios. Thank you so much. So my that or this is, would you rather always have your meals cold or always have your drinks warm? Love you guys. I can't think of anything to clarify. I'm sure you'll find something to ask though.
Man,
that's funny.
My answer is clear and quick.
Drinks warm.
Drinks warm.
Mine too.
I can't
do cold food
all the time.
Yeah, me either.
Even like cold food like that is meant to be cold. Like the cheese plate you had today, or meat and cheese plate. Yeah. Like, I be needing a hot meal.
Yeah, I would much rather warm drinks. You can like get over. Because even I would prefer room temperature water for the most part anyway.
But could you imagine being super thirsty and have to drink some warm water or hot water?
Yeah, that would suck. But this is the other thing that's worse though than that to me, is like a cold day and going home and eating cold soup.
Why would you eat cold soup? Oh, you're saying if you have this. Yeah. Oh, got it.
Like, I would be upset.
Yeah, I be needing a hot breakfast. I be needing hot lunch. I be needing hot.
Yeah, I need the hot. I'm definitely going to take my warm drink.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get started. So
this wildlife is going ham in the background.
I know, it's so loud. I like it though. Okay, so last week, like we said, we talked about Jason, and I want to do a part 2. I just don't know when. Maybe we'll do it while we're out of town.
Mm-hmm. They'll be with us.
Yeah, they'll be with us. So maybe we'll do it then. But from that spawned a lot of, I don't know, did it unearth some things inside of you? Kev was so mad, by the way. I think we said that, but he was like legitimately.
So here's the thing. First of all, I don't feel that good. My stomach kind of hurts. So if I look despondent or sound despondent, it's because I have a slight headache and my stomach, I have like heart. I don't know what's going on. But I don't feel 100%. But do y'all care? You need your potty. Melissa has been tasking me with feeling my feelings more. Kevin, I need you to be more vulnerable. Kevin, lean into those feelings. Kevin, why are you trying to hide from your feelings so much?
Okay, but can we provide context? Because it's not like I'm just like, I want you to feel your feelings for the
what's
sake
the context?
Of feeling your feelings. I want to, so going back to something Shamira said on the podcast, is that intimacy is being seen, heard, and being valued. And so I feel that I'm not always given the opportunity to fully see you because you aren't sharing all of those parts of yourself.
No, I'm Batman. Those parts are the dark recesses of my mind. So
I'm not just trying to like feel your feelings. I'm trying to like build intimacy, like create intimacy and create a bond that's deeper than where we currently are.
I understand that, but you're asking me to do stuff that I don't want to.
No, I get that. I'm just providing the context as to why I'm asking.
Yeah, so I think so we'll start with the last week's episode.
Okay, but before we go there, I want to just say this, that we're either going to call this episode Kevin is an Emotional Wreck or Emotional Integrity. My sister, we just went out to dinner, and I feel like this will be like kind of the backdrop for everything we're about to say. That's kind of why I stopped.
Okay.
We went out to dinner last night because we haven't seen my sister in a while, and she was talking about her therapist has been encouraging her to like speak up and those type of different things. And with that, she said just recently there was an incident at work where she spoke up about it, and she came back to me, and I harp on the boys all the time about like being emotionally honest, having emotional integrity, which means if you feel a certain way, don't just say I'm okay, like actually voice how you actually feel. And she was like, oh my God, I really feel like this is the first time in my life where like I was being emotionally honest, I was having emotional integrity because I was saying what I was speaking. And I think, to me, my definition of integrity is being fully integrated, being whole, being undivided, or not being divided, undivided, yeah. Meaning your words line up with your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Your actions line up with your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times what happens is that we may feel or think a certain way, but we tell ourselves to respond differently as if those feelings are wrong,
Yes.
as if those feelings are invalid, and or we suppress them.
Yeah.
And so not dealing with something doesn't make them not exist.
True.
And so unaddressed feelings, they're just unaddressed. It's not like they're not there. And so I'm encouraging you, I'm encouraging me, I'm encouraging all of us to have that like emotional integrity and acknowledging all of our feelings, the good, the bad, the ugly, the whatever, the sad, the high, the low, fears, concerns, whatever they are, because that's emotional integrity.
I agree.
Okay.
The thing that I was trying to impress upon you, I felt like you were the narrative that I was telling myself.
Okay, these are good words.
Is that I don't know. I'm trying to understand. Well, what I would tell you when you would say, "How do you feel about stuff?" I would be like, I didn't want you to think I didn't want to talk to you about it. And I thought about it a lot and just was like, nah, I'm not going to share.
Mm-hmm.
I have trained myself. If you guys watch Ozark, I told Melissa this the other day. I'm basically Jason Bateman's character, Marty Bird, where he just, like, they have so much stuff going on that he just compartmentalizes things, tragic or otherwise.
Yeah, he compartmentalizes all.
Everything, right? And then towards the end of the second season, this isn't really a spoiler alert for the show, but all those emotions eventually catch up with him, right? And I had basically, without even knowing it, I have trained myself to not feel certain things. So, for example,
to not acknowledge them and then thereby
not acknowledge them, to just, well,
because I remember you saying that, like, sometimes they pop in your mind and then you're just like, nope.
Okay, so let's go with Jason.
Okay.
With the whole cancer scenario and all that type of stuff, that is an example of something you would feel feelings. You'd be like scared or whatever. You spend more time together, all that type of stuff. I had almost successfully just been like, nah.
Almost, or like successfully?
Successfully, just been like, nah, I don't. Mm-hmm. I couldn't even let those thoughts enter. So that's why the podcast, that's why I didn't want to do it. That's why those emotions are so raw. It wasn't like we talked about all the time, then we were just sharing it on the episode. I didn't think about that at all.
Right.
So I was telling you this the other day. I ended up crying on Periscope, talking about him, and it was weird because I wasn't even talking about him that long. I was just talking about the tour, and I was saying, my plan was my brother was gonna do this, but he got sick, and then within 15 seconds I was crying.
Right.
And I was telling Liz, like, maybe that's because those feelings are so unfelt that the mere thought of them happen. The thought of them is like, it's kind of like a soda.
Go ahead.
Like a 2-liter soda.
Mm-hmm.
Like you drop that on the second or on the ground or whatever. When you open it, you like a crack.
Yeah, and
it's that's kind of, I feel like how that scenario was. And you started asking those questions, and I was just like, man, because I tend to let my imagination run wild, negatively or positively.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's negative things like being diagnosed with cancer, the first thing you think of is he's so young, you could die, people die, life's shortened, it's my only brother, all that stuff. And in order to not go down that path, I would rather just not think about it at all. And I know that's not healthy.
Right.
But I just don't want to. I just didn't want to think like that.
You didn't want to think like that because you're afraid of the scenario, you're afraid of the leaning into those emotions, what you're going to feel. What's the fear?
this might sound illogical, but it's one of the fears. If you think about it, it might come true.
Oh, I don't think that's illogical. I think a lot of people have those same. It's just the feeling where we were talking to Tony Baker the other day, and he had like really good news, and he didn't want to share it because he felt like he was going to jinx it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think a lot of us have that that same fear that like, I don't want to jinx this. I don't want to think about this too much. I don't want to be too happy. I don't want to think too much about, too far into this, because what if it doesn't happen? Instead of like, I don't know, leaning into those moments, or taking the opportunity to lean in and directing your thoughts another way.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was trying to get out. Like, so the reality is that your brother is sick. Like, that is a reality. But what you was sick. Yeah. But what you don't want to do, what I believe is that what you don't want to do is not acknowledge that truth, and thereby not doing things that you would had you. Example, so I can make it make sense. If I know my brother was sick and potentially life expectancy is shortened, or whatever the case may be, if you're going about life as if he wasn't, if something were to happen to him, you didn't live the moment as if he were, meaning you didn't spend time with him, meaning you didn't call him, meaning you didn't check on him.
But I did do that stuff. No. I just didn't do it under that guise.
So if something were to have, I don't want to use your brother because this is a kind of a, this is a lot for me right now.
I was just like, that's why I stopped looking at the camera.
That it got heavy for me too. But if something were to happen, you don't want to go with regret.
No, yeah.
And so I feel like being able to like acknowledge my brother is sick, but I'm so grateful for these moments that I have with him. That's what I was saying. Like, I'm so grateful that the tour to him was a big deal. And now it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean to me? So now that I know that, even the more like cherishing these moments.
Right.
It's kind of like those conversations that we have when we talk about the boys. When we were younger and not having the money and just living life. And sometimes I wish I could relive when they were small as a more stable, financially stable person, because you can cherish those moments a lot more. So anyway, speaking of cherishing the moments, it's also important to cherish your dollars.
Yes.
And as entrepreneurs, small business owners, we strongly believe in having multiple streams of income. And so we have a merch business, and selling merch can be very lucrative, but it also can be very expensive.
And very time consuming.
Actually, both of those things are true. You have to pay for shipping, you need to pay for the raw materials, and you need to pay for like packaging stuff. Yes. And all of those things they add up, and they're going to cut into your bottom line.
Absolutely.
If you're not smart about it. So we have partnered with ShipStation, which is an online shipping platform that will integrate with whatever platform you're using to sell your materials. Most platforms. So whether that's Amazon, whether that's Etsy. I have actually used, I have a book called Journey to Self-Love, and I have sold it on, what is it called? Envy.
Etsy?
Store Envy.
Oh.
And they actually integrate with them. So what happens is you use them, and they help you simplify, so you can pull in whether you're selling merchandise on Amazon, whether you're selling merchandise on Etsy, whether you're selling merchandise on Shopify, all of these different platforms. Sometimes that can be very overwhelming.
Yes.
And so what they'll do is allow you to pull all of those into streamline it into one platform, give you a nice rate, and then you can ship out your products. It's going to save you time, it's going to save you money, and those are commodities you cannot get back. Well, your time, child, you can get money back, but you can't get your time back. So right now, if you're a small business owner, you follow us because we're entrepreneurs, we inspire you, you want to start your own merch line or whatever it is, definitely highly recommend doing so and looking into ShipStation. Right now, Love Our listeners can try ShipStation for free for 60 days when you use the promo code LOVE, that's LOVE. There's absolutely no risk. You can start your free trial without even entering your credit card information. They're for real. just visit shipstation.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in love. That's shipstation.com, then enter promo code love. Shipstation.com, make ship happen. Okay, so you've been in, like, since last week's episode, you've been in a state of feeling your feelings.
Emotional turmoil.
You've been in emotional turmoil. You've been in an emotional wreck. Tell us what you've been thinking about and going through.
So the one probably that's the most prevalent is this is why I was crying today. What time is it? 5 o'clock or something? I've already cried twice today.
It's 4:21.
4:21 for one reason and one for the other. So the most thing that I feel the most bad about is the kids. So we talked about this before, but Joe was basically like, man, y'all need to be home more. Like the extent of the tour travel is weighing on him. I was actually thinking, should I tour whenever we do it again a compressed time?
Yeah.
Like 6 tough weeks or 2 months tough and then be done.
Yeah.
I feel like that might be easier and harder, but at least the rest of the year I'll be
done.
I'll talk to him about that with you. But anyway, I have this guilt, and I realize I have parental guilt. It's very similar to when I used to have to drop them off at work. I used to be like, man, it sucks that, because little kids, they don't want to go to daycare.
They don't want to nope. They
just don't want to go, man. And then Joe was so young, and I'd take Isaiah to school and Joe to daycare, and there was a lot of times Melissa and I worked really early, so the kids would have to be like plenty of times the first kids in the classroom, especially when we worked at Boeing. I used to be at work before 5:30 regularly, like taking my lunch at 9, my lunch break, 9 or 10. And I would feel guilty just dropping them off. So, imagine multiplying that by not seeing them, being gone Thursday, for this tour, mostly because we live in LA. In order to get to those East Coast cities, you almost always have to fly on Thursday night because there's very rarely a flight that can get to, Virginia or New York in time to get to the hotel, checked in, showered and then to the venue for a 6 o'clock show. And I didn't realize when I was doing stand-up on my own and not touring, I used to be able to fly out a lot on Saturday because I wouldn't have to.
You would go straight to the venue.
Yes. And I would go right to the stage sometimes. I'd be at the hotel for like an hour, maybe. It was very rare that I had to leave on Friday night. But for this tour, because we're doing it on our own, it's very rare that I can leave on Friday. So anyway, and it was one thing to think that, and another to miss my kids, but it became a whole nother to actually like have it voiced.
Absolutely.
And it was just like, daycare was bad, and it was. This is just, it is just gut-wrenchingly tough, and the thing that's kind of crazy is even the boys be doing fun stuff. Like they're not being hurt. No. They go visit their cousins or whatever.
They're having a good time.
And then they get to go to Spain, and we were talking about this. Hopefully they get appreciated. I'm sure they'll appreciate it later.
They will.
But for now, they want to just be at home with me and you there in the rooms. You don't need to even sit under us. Like Joe will sit up in our room and just play his games, his Switch,
and that's all he wants.
And he'll just be on our bed, just be in there. He'll fake sleep in our bed. It's the comfort of home. When the boys are in there, because even this week we were only home for a day, but when the kids are not there, the house feels weird.
Yeah, it's quiet.
Yeah, I didn't even realize how many times I go in there and just be, what y'all in here doing? Farting?
Yeah.
And I'll stand in front of the TV or, pull their socks off and then just leave. And they just be like, Dad, Father, Zay be like, Father, way. I say what's up to Zay probably 100 times. What up, Zay? Hello, Father. Like, he always answers me.
Establishing routine.
It's just the routine. So having my kids say that, I was just like, I'll quit stand-up comedy right now. But I knew that wasn't the answer because it just, and that's the thing about life too, a little bit off topic. The answer very rarely is as simple as, I'll just do this.
Yeah, no. Because
then I go back to, whatever job. I'm still not going to be able to see them every second of every day.
It's balancing their wishes and your, and what you want to do.
Yes. But, so this is the reason why I was crying. I was watching this movie, Chef, and the guy, John Favreau, or Favreau, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Favreau, I think it is. he's a chef and his son just wants to be around.
Okay.
So he got divorced and he was taking his kid around, you know, the fun stuff, movies, amusement parks. And then in one scene, his son is just showing him how to use Twitter. And the kid is like about JoJo's age, a little older maybe. And he's like, man, I enjoy this. And the dad, you know, he was like, really? And he was like, yeah. He's like, I thought you want to, you know, he said, usually you always take me to do fun stuff, which I don't mind, but, you know, because the dad was like, I thought you enjoy doing fun stuff because I don't get to see you that much. And he was like, I just enjoy hanging out and talking as well, like just being around you. Because the kid wanted to follow him to work and he'd buy ingredients. So as the movie goes on, he ends up like basically incorporating more time with his son. So the thing that made me cry is his son had made a 1 second a day video. So you take 1 second each day and then you string them together. So they basically spend the summer together. So at the end of the like road trip, he sends her the video. And it's all these little moments and I was just like, me, my children.
I didn't understand when you were explaining to me earlier. That's actually really sweet.
It was so sweet. And they weren't even all great moments. Like one, his dad was kind of fussing at him. You know what I mean? But it was just like, you know, your kids want to be involved in your life. They're more aware than we give them credit for.
100%.
They're more emotional than we give them credit for. I made this joke video earlier this week, and it was like, were you ever asked anything as a kid, how you felt about situations? And we weren't. We just weren't raised like that. But we try to do that with our kids. And the thing is, even though we weren't asked, we felt
you
away.
have feelings,
Yeah, you hush up, boy. You can't cry. Even when we like fall and bleed, stop crying. You know, boys don't cry. You being weak, whatever. And, you know, your parents just didn't want to hear that, but that didn't stop you from feeling it.
Right.
You just didn't have a coping mechanism. And maybe that's also part of the reason why it's so hard, because I'm a man. We grew up in that era where a child's place was quiet, you know. And
it's funny, too, because as you're talking, I realized the other day, the boys were having a moment at the cousin's house, and Kayla, which is Jason's oldest, one of his daughters, older, she's 17, and she gets on the phone and she's like, and she says, Isaiah, you know, he's so smart, like he always talks. And I just remember when Aunt Melissa Isaiah was younger, Aunt Melissa used to always say, use your words, use your words, use your words. And I was like, I didn't even realize it, but I did. I used to always tell the boys, because they would just be crying, and I'm like, I don't understand your tears. I need you to use your words. What's wrong? Say it in, you know, I'm hurt. My brain hurts. I need you. My feelings are hurt. I need you to articulate what's wrong, because I don't understand tears. And so like making that connection that now
that's instilled in them.
Yeah. And so he really is. I don't know that I did it that much with Joe though. But I distinctly remember doing that with Isaiah. Actually, I did do it with Joe, but probably not as much. Doing that with Isaiah and like giving him that opportunity to voice whatever it was that was wrong with him. And he will. He's much better at doing that.
Isaiah?
Than Joey is. But going to your point that like we didn't have the time or space to do that. And then allowing him that space, and now being able to see him, you know, like fully articulate himself.
Yeah, and I think even in my family, I was telling you this the other night, we were having a discussion about this, and I was telling her, like, in my family, we didn't necessarily have secrets, but there was definitely stuff that just didn't get talked about. So we just didn't. Like, and we would just go on about the day, you know what I mean? And so I guess I trained myself to compartmentalize, you know, and lately I've been trying to you know, the boys stuff. It has been somebody asked me this on Instagram. They're like, how do you deal with fame and your celebrity status, and like, how are you dealing with it? I didn't answer it because I was trying to pick the funny questions, but that's the hardest thing to deal with.
Wait, be specific. What's
the hardest thing to deal with my rising status is the best part of the travel part happening. But taking it away from my kids is the hard part, and knowing that there's not a quick fix for that.
No,
there's just, you know, we have our we'll do this, we'll do that, you know. But there's going to be times where the boys are away from us, and it's going to be hard for them, and that's common with a lot of business owners. I remember when I used to listen to How I Built This, they a lot of them were like, they call it the years where we were building our business.
Right.
They often say it's really hard on your children.
Well,
you know,
sure, that's a huge sacrifice.
Yeah, because you work like crazy. You work like a dog, and I mean, I travel, which makes it worse. But some people are in the house, in the office 10, 12 hours, you know, a day. You know, when we first started ADD, people, you know, we was being there. I wouldn't get home till 8:30, 9 o'clock. The boys would be going to bed. Michelle Obama's book, you were talking about that. She would try to wait for Barack to come home. And the kids would miss him, but he would be gone, you know. And he wasn't even the president at that time. He was just a senator. And I know that happened, you know, during the White House. That was very, very formative years of
Sasha
Malia's life. So of course they have to deal with that. But knowing that other people are going through it doesn't make it easier for you to handle it. You know what I mean? Because when we picked Joe up, the combination of his love for family and his age, Isaiah's, I'm cool, you know.
Well, he's at, my friends are cooler than my family.
Yeah, but Joe is like, he literally run and jumps in my arms. And he like, I'm not letting you go, I'm not letting you go. And he'll hold on as long as he like physically can. And it feels so good. And then when we leave, it'd be so sad.
Yeah. That's how you want to say?
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of holding on and not wanting to leave, we have partnered with Third Love, and their bras will hold on to you, child, but not in a bad way. They lift, they separate, and they're comfortable. These are all important things. If you don't know, I have a book club. In my book club, this is one of the things I will be giving away in my Alyssa's Box of Loves, where I'll be giving away a box of things that I love and enjoy and like. Join my book club. I've been MIA for a little while, but after the tour's over, I'm going to be back better than ever. That's a side note. But I will be giving away a Third Love bra. Third Love comes in more than 70 sizes. They have a signature half sizes. You just take a Fit Finders quiz that help you identify your breast size and shape, thus finding the best bra for you. Plus, they have 100% fit guarantee. You have 60 days to wear it, wash it, and put it to the test. And if you do not love it, you can return it. And Third Love will wash it and donate it to a woman in need. Returns and exchanges are easy and free. Hands down, the most comfortable bra I own. I have one on right now, and I flew from last night to this morning. That says a lot, because travel bras, you want to have a good comfortable bra. And folks y'all be tagging me in my DMs when y'all buy them, and y'all be like, yeah, these are legit. So Third Love knows a perfect bra for everyone. So right now they're offering our listeners 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/lovehour now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/lovehour. That's LOVEHOUR for 15% off today. We also want to tell you about Brewmate. We've talked about them before. It is still summer. When's summer in? August 21st? Something like that?
I thought it was September 20th.
September 20th? When does summer start? June
20th.
July? It is. So it's still summer. It means it's still barbecue season, which means if you're barbecuing, you want to have nice, cool drinks. I like wine, I like cold wine. And so what Brewmate does is allows you to keep your wines cool. It's insulated drinkware designed to keep your favorite beverages ice cold all day long. Whether that's beer, wine, or spirits, Brewmate makes sure every sip is the perfect temperature. We have, first of all, anything that is functional and pretty to look at are things that I'm always interested in. We have the Carrera style, and it's kind of like a marble style, but they also have this glitter. It's like a rose gold glitter style, which I'm thinking about buying. I'm not gonna lie to you, I saw it today and I was like, well, that's pretty. They have a charcoal glitter. It's almost like a holographic style. Very, very pretty, very nice to look at. They're really good gifts if one of your friends is like a barbecue master. They love barbecue and having people over and having get-togethers. These are good gifts for these people. They have birthdays in the summer, you know, that type of thing. So don't settle for warm wine, because warm wine is not good wine. you ask me. Chill out with your favorite drinks all day long with Brewmate. Visit brewmate.com and add code TLH to get 15% off your first order. That's brewmate.com. That's BRUMATE. Use the code TLH to get 15% off your first order. That's 15% off your first order when you go to brewmate.com. BRUMATE.com and add the code TLH again for 15% off. What else are you worried about? What else are you emotionally are you done with the kids?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's why I was crying on the plane. You were asleep. It was funny. I've cried on planes twice because of movies. That and Me, Earl and the Dying Girl. Yeah, that one was much, much worse. And even like the boys were with Tam over the summer.
Like the last weekend.
Last week, and she sent us this video of them playing with water guns. And we can have some of that. Mm-hmm. Water guns and water balloons. And I was just about to go on stage, and I watched that and I was crying because they were happy. I was just like, man, look at them just playing in the sun as cousins. And then I was crying.
I think that you're having like these
emotional breakdowns?
Yeah, breakdown moments because you're not used to feeling your feelings all the time. And so right now you're like acutely aware of them, like more, so you're more sensitive to them.
Yes.
And so that's why like every little thing, it's like it's like
yes,
that's what I was about to say. You went from here all the way over here, and you just have to find like that balance that allows you to like feel your feelings and realize that that's okay, learn how to deal with them in whatever way that means. So you're not always having a breakdown, but also recognizing that sometimes breakdowns are good and that is what you need. But sometimes it's just, or I think right now it's just a matter of like recalibrating and finding that balance that allows you to feel your feelings all the time.
I think for me, the other thing that's making it hard for me emotionally is you're asking me to be more emotionally vulnerable. And it's like, it's such a hard thing to do. Because,
what do you mean?
Okay, I'm going to tell you what I mean.
Tell me more.
If you said, Kevin, I need your help around the house. And I don't help around the house much. If I come in the house, dishes need to be done. Wash the dishes, take the trash out, sweep, mop, whatever. That is a thing that is easily fixable. If you know what I mean? One thing I've told you a couple times is you want me to share my feelings, but I don't even be sharing them with myself. So you're asking me to acknowledge them and share them with you when I don't even acknowledge them to begin with. So, and you've talked about it before, and it's a hard thing to feel like you are making progress in it. So we have these, we were talking the other night, and I wouldn't even say we were arguing. We just had a tense discussion, and I confided in you that I'll share with the podcast now that I feel like I don't know if it's imposter syndrome, but I feel like a lot of times I'm not doing a good job as a husband. Like I feel like because this is such a difficult thing to do, to master, and it's
husbandship.
No, like specifically me dealing with my feelings. Okay. This is something I don't have a lot of experience in my own life. It's hard. So, and you I don't want to say use the word complain, but you've mentioned it a lot, over the last, I feel like in different forms over the last couple of years. At first it was like, we don't really talk that much, or we're not talking about deep stuff, or our conversations are very surface level. And now you've drilled down to like the exact thing. Let us do this podcast, Thomas.
That was funny.
Enough. I mean, you're just being a jerk about it. I didn't even know there was train tracks over here.
I didn't either.
So anyway.
Meanwhile, Jay's like, it's so quiet. You guys
it's ain't quiet, and the house is cold in there. So anyway, you're asking me to do that, and I feel like, man, if I don't get this, you are eventually going to stop asking. This is me going down the long, way. And I actually told you this. I'm like, man, you're gonna get sad. You're gonna feel like I don't want to open up to you. Then you're gonna stop asking. And then you're gonna want to leave me. And that's really what, I don't know if you know, but when we have tense arguments, I ask Melissa, can we end with a hug or something, because you have a tough argument or, you know, discussion or whatever, and then you just go to sleep. I be feeling like that bed be feeling huge.
Yeah.
You know, and all you do is turn around. You went to sleep that night and I couldn't sleep. And I was like, look at her over there, just sleep. She's just fine with all this. And I'm over here, I can't sleep. You know, but when I hugged you, I was crying.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew.
No.
Tears was wet. And then this morning at the airport, you just sitting in the airport next to you, and I put my head on your lap. I was crying in the airport, all in public.
I know, I was like, what's happening?
I'm like, man, this is what you asked for. It's too much. It's too much.
But you're not, I think you...
He has to be on the other side of the tracks by now.
It needs to be. I think the second part of the work that's involved with this is putting, and this is what I was saying to you before, is like putting words to those tears.
use your
I don't know what these tears mean.
I was using them.
No.
That's what led to the tears.
Today?
Yeah, remember I told you this morning?
Oh,
I was sad all day yesterday. You thought I was mad at you. And I was just in a funk because I was just like, man, this is really hard for me. I don't feel like I'm doing a good, you know, maybe that's it. I feel like in my life, I only do things that I'm really good at.
Which I was going to say that, but I didn't know if you wanted that to be said. But I think that you naturally shy away from things that you don't feel like come easy to you.
Yes.
And so this is an opportunity to stretch yourself and grow. Because if it's hard for you, to me, that's good. That means this is your growth. This is something that's why I'm never, and I said this to you before, when we have an assistant and her name is Candace, and there was like a period of transition, because we're used to doing things a certain way. Kevin's used to doing things a certain way. You hire this person to kind of lift that burden, but you still kind of want to like control it. And so she's like, do y'all want to keep me on as an employee or not? Because like, you're not gonna pay me and I'm doing nothing. I'll quit first. And I'm like, I enjoy these conversations because they help me grow. I will never meet your expectations if you don't tell me what they are. And so even if I have a hard time achieving them, at least I know what I'm striving for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm willing to like grow and expand. So I'm like always here for the difficult conversations that are productive, not like just screaming.
They should end with sex though, for me. I would feel like, you know how when you like tell a dog to roll over and then he does, then you give him like a begging strip. I want a coochie strip.
You stop talking.
But if we had sex after, I'd be like, man, this is gonna be tough. But at the end, this is what I gonna get. Can you imagine how much I would talk if I knew that was going to be at the end?
What else do you have to say?
No, I agree. I think, remember, that's why I switched from, that's why I stopped playing the bass.
Why?
Because I was like, man, I'm not going to be as good as these other people are. Let me focus on the stuff that I'm good at.
You mean before or right now?
Well, I just stopped right now because I didn't have no time.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was working on the piano because the piano is much harder than the bass because of that same thing. Like, last time, because when things, I'm good at a lot of stuff, and I work at a lot of stuff like stand-up. Like for whatever reason, I enjoyed the work part of that. Right. I really enjoy the tough part of building a new joke in a new segment, which becomes a new hour. Like that is hard too.
Yeah.
Like I'm good at that, but it is hard, and it gets harder when you're like Kev on stage. Oh man, he got to be. You know what I mean? Yeah. People want a polished hour whenever they see you, but you need time to do that. But with this, you're asking. I feel like I'm having to develop a lot of skills at once.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You're familiar with the work that's involved for comedy,
right?
So there's no fear in that. Like, yeah, it's gonna be hard, but also I'm very aware of what's expected.
And I know, and there's also the laughter factor. If this works, you laugh. If you don't laugh, it didn't work.
Yeah. This
is not a. There's not a laugh. You know, there's not it's not a 1-for-1 like
immediate payoff.
Yes. So it's like one thing you had asked me to, and that's the other thing. It's like I feel like as I grow and I get better at some things, you don't bring them up. but new things replace them. You know what I mean? Because you're ever like shifting and evolving, and so in our, it was like a couple of months ago, or maybe a year ago, you're like, sometimes you feel like I share on social media before I even talk with you, like on Periscope or whatever. So I worked on that, but there's no like, dang, Kev, okay, you know what, man, you did great. I asked you to do that, and I noticed there hasn't been no situation where you've done that. So I forget about it. Right. You know what I mean? So there's no immediate or like delayed, like, you've done a good job at this. Right. It just gets replaced with, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I don't know if this is coming off like, wrong, but, we're always trying to work on being our better self. So, I don't know. It just feels like there's not in actual life, it's not as simple as a joke that gets a laugh. You go on about your day, because there's no way to do that. Like, you don't see me not going on Periscope, right, or you don't see me on Periscope not sharing stuff. You just see me talking to you first. So there's not a time to reward that behavior. But this particular thing, so it's like working out. Yeah. When I work out, I do. Greg was like, you can do start by doing 100 push-ups a day, and I ain't done them in a couple of days. But I did that, and then I did up to 120. So now the result is I can bench 220 pounds, right, 25 pounds 9 times. That is a direct correlation of the work I put in. Yeah. Emotional work doesn't have that same thing. Fitness is very different. Yeah,
but that is definitely emotional work is very invisible work, and sometimes it's not very tangible. Yeah. However, working out is something that is tangible. You see the results in the way that you feel and the way that your body looks, and that's very rewarding, and that will motivate you to keep going. And you and Doughboy are closing in on your...
No, we called the bet off.
You called the bet off.
We called it off for a good reason, though. One, he was working out too hard and pushing himself too much. And two, we had different goals. Yeah. He was trying to drop weight. I'm trying to get stronger and in shape. So my body is changing in a way that I like, but I haven't lost a lot of actual pounds. Sure. So it just wasn't healthy anymore. You really got to run your own fitness race. And compare yourself to your old self, not to somebody else. That's actually really good advice. And that's a great thing about Open Fit. It allows you to get your summer body ready and the way that makes the most sense for you. It allows you to do a personalized, customized fitness journey, and it's going to help you from the inside out. The journey to self-love, the journey to self-discovery, the journey to loving yourself always starts with the mind. It always starts on the inside. And then once you love the way that you are looking, acting as is, it's so much better to evolve and change and become the person that you want to be. So Open Fit takes all the complexity out of losing weight and getting fit. It's a brand new, super simple streaming service that allows you to work out from the comfort of your living room in as little as 10 minutes a day. They have yoga, which sometimes we all know yoga can be intimidating and embarrassing if you don't know what you're doing. So allowing you the opportunity to do that in the privacy of your own home without that embarrassment is great. They have yoga, they have 600-second workouts, they have nutrition guides where they teach you meal prep and cooking tips and nutrition tips and weight loss tips, vitamins, supplements, all of these things, how to sleep better, and all of these tips and tricks are on their website to again allow you to arm yourself with the tools in order to meet and achieve your weight loss goals. OpenFit has changed the way we work out, and if you text our code LOVE to 303030, you can join us on our fitness journey personalized just for you. Right now, during the OpenFit 30-day challenge, our listeners get a special extended 30-day free trial membership to OpenFit when you text LOVE, that's LOVE, to 303030. You will get full access to OpenFit, all the workouts and nutrition information totally free. Again, just text LOVE to 303030. Standard message and data rates may apply. What else applies in your conversation right now? So what's important, I think, is that one of the things I keep hearing you say, and I don't know how to remedy that, is that so I did ask you, like, I need your feedback in saying, what's important to you. If that feedback is important, like, explain to me how you want that to look.
So that way I can incorporate that in our, you know what I mean? If you need that pat on the back, you need that.
Oh yeah, I'm words of affirmation boy.
So then
I thought about it, but I couldn't come up with anything.
I'm going to need your help because that's not second nature to me. So I won't do it. I don't require it. I don't need it. And so I don't know what to look for. And so it is important to me that you provide examples or demonstrate what that looks like so I can do it in a way that you'll recognize as a thank you, as affirmation, as, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing that, and that is important, I really do, I think that, I actually think that that is a tip for everyone. A lot of times we are asking of our spouses to give us something that isn't second nature to them. Otherwise they would have been doing it.
The emotional stuff isn't second nature.
Yes, and so demonstrating that to you when I'm open to you, I'm demonstrating that behavior. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Allowing that time and space so you can see how it's done, so that way you can just replicate that. And that's all I'm asking. But I started thinking too, and I actually mentioned this before, and I'm thinking about starting this as a family. When we do our nightly affirmations, is doing a stop, start, thank you. So when we were in banking, we did a stop, start, continue,
mm-hmm.
which every year with you had your annual evaluation with your manager, and they asked, what is one, so I'm the manager, Kevs the employee, and he would say, this is one thing as my manager I want you to start. This is something I need you to do. This is one thing that you do that I think it's great and I want you to continue. This is one thing that you do and I want you to stop.
Mm-hmm.
So every year we did a start, stop, continue. I did a start, stop, thank you. One thing, maybe it should be continue, start, continue, and thank you. Regardless, the point is that I want the
stop has to be in there though.
Start, continue, thank you.
Maybe.
Okay. The point is that I wanted to make sure that we as a family have an opportunity to say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be, I was trying to think because I don't want it to be like dumb and a task, but maybe once a month or once a week or something like that, where we each have an opportunity to say, I noticed you did this week. Maybe I didn't say thank you in the moment, but I want you to know that I thank you for that.
Yeah, I just thought of it. So when we have these, and this might sound cheesy, but I don't care. I need it. When we have those conversations that you feel like this was the type of conversation I was looking for, or these type of statement, anything that you notice that I've done, like at first you were like, you were like, man, you do, when we were, especially we're going to doing the business together, you were saying you do stuff without consulting me at all.
Yeah. And
you just do it. You present it to me as a done idea,
mm-hmm.
and not a thought. And so I was working like to not do that. So what if when you hear the conversations that you desire from me, or you feel like I've shared something in a way that you like, okay, this is what I'm talking about, you could say this is an example of a conversation that I'm looking for.
Gotcha. Like
if you say thank you for bringing this to me first, or asking my opinion first, because then it triggers in my, it's Pavlov's dogs, thing. And if we have those conversations, because I would be asking you, I remember asking you one time, like, is this this type of conversation you like, you want? And you were like, if you have to ask, it just makes it weird, it nullifies it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm asking not to, just so I know, because I don't want to feel like this is wasted motion, or feel like this is what you were looking for and it wasn't. You know what I mean? So if any time it clicks in your head that we've had an interaction or a series of interactions, even if it doesn't have to be in the moment, if if it comes to you later, like, man, that was a great conversation. Yeah, Kev, I felt like, we got closer. Mm-hmm. That would be very helpful to me, because it one reminds me that the work has been seen, and two, it presents a picture of something that I can reference. I can reference back again.
Okay, so I wonder how many people. So we're talking a little bit about like love languages right now, and one of your love languages, words of affirmation. And part of the reason like the love language is so like revolutionary and transformative in relationships is because it does provide a baseline for what it means to love your spouse
in a way that they perceive love.
Right.
Which I think is the most important part of it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we think we are doing things that they love, but if they don't perceive that as loving, then it doesn't count.
Right. Yeah, I think the love languages are so transformative because, like you said, it helps you to love your spouse in the way that they perceive love. And I mean, and it's hard because it does stretch you in a way. Like, I think our love languages are like literally the opposite of one another.
Yours is quality time and acts of service.
I think when I was
we don't share any. A lot of couples share at least one.
When you say a lot, who have you talked to?
7 people.
I'm trying to remember to do that because I think you are really good about, follow the word that I'm about to make up, uniquifying.
Sound like a black girl.
Our situation. And what I have found, meaning everyone else has this, and for whatever reason, our story is the opposite of that. And what I find is that the opposite is actually true.
We're more common than we think.
The more you share your story, the more people relate to it. And I believe that there are more people who identify with us than there are that doesn't. Even if it's just like, oh, well, my husband is more of Melissa and my wife is more of Kev. But outside of that, it's the same. I think that is more common than not, and I think that's actually part of the success of the podcast is that relatability. And so I'm always cautious about
uniquifying things.
Yes, uniquifying, because what I have found,
that sounds like it could be a word.
It could be. It's definitely not, I'm sure. But what I have found is that in our younger years of marriage, I always felt it makes us feel broken. When you're like, everyone else shares except for us. Well, then what's wrong with us? You know what I mean? And that's actually not the case. And so I'm always just like, I never, especially in this time of my life, and especially as I like read and, you know, do all of these things, I'm always very acutely aware of the story that I tell myself. And if I'm always the one that's different, then eventually you will feel broken. You will feel like our relationship is broken.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case. And so I want to be careful about the way that I frame, you know, that.
I feel like when we do the Love Hour last year, we more specifically than this year, we talked about when women ask what's wrong, and we say nothing, and I think it's from that book on waffling. But I see all the men when I say not what's wrong. When you say what's on your mind.
Well, I think that is something that is gender normative. So I think that there are that is something that may be more common with men than women. Yeah.
But anyway, I don't even know why I said that. But anyway, I'm tired of feeling all these emotions. That's what I want to say. But I feel like I can't go back to the old way.
But the thing about it is you can't go back.
I think if I do the work to do it, I need you to do the same work to appreciate it. And that's fun. That'll make it easier to do because and that's the thing that's funny about it. It's not like I ever did it. Ever. It's not like riding a bike. As a kid, I used to ride a bike every day. And you haven't ridden for a while, and it takes a second to be like, oh man, you know what I mean? Like, it's not hard, but you just take a second. I feel like I am having to develop a new skill but the stakes are very high. It's with my kids, it's with you, it's with my real dad stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of the reason we're gonna go to therapy when the tour's over, to maybe help with some of those skills, like learning how to identify those things. Therefore, it'll be able to share it, man. Because when we were talking in Ohio, remember I was crying the other night when I was talking about my childhood stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, man, these are some things that I'm saying for the first time ever out loud. You're asking me to process things that I have never processed ever.
Yeah, that's why you need to go to therapy.
I agree. I'm gonna be crying. I'm gonna be a mess up in there. But you know, I don't want to be guarded to you, which means I have to open up to myself.
Right. And
that part it's just hard, because in order to move forward, you just be like, all right, man, you know, forget it. I'm moving forward, and I've done a good job of that. But it's, you know, just like we talk about in the podcast, the Love Our Life. Melissa 2.0 won't allow emotionally guarded Kevin to. Yeah. That won't work anymore. And that worked for a long time in our marriage. Yeah. 15 years of it. 14 of the 15. 14 and a half. Like, but now it's like, nah. So in order for us to keep moving closer into this next phase of this next year and beyond, what I used to be able to get away with, I can't. Right. And that's what it's just like, man, this is going to be tough. It just feels like, like it's just going to be tough. And it's, you know, having to learn to do something for the first time is always difficult, but some of that stuff hasn't been accessed at all. And the thought of having to really get in there emotionally and process some of that stuff, I just don't look forward to that at all. I really don't. It's like having to have knee surgery. You're just like, man, I really need this so I can be better. But the thought of having to like have surgery and then have rehab is just like, that's probably the reason I never got my shoulder repaired.
I know.
Because it was like having 6 months of rehab. I just don't. I'll just let it be broken, in which I have done. So I've done this with my own body.
I was like, that was a whole word.
They told me that the rehab was 6 months. I was like, I'll keep it broke.
But the word behind, I don't want to do the work, I'd rather be broken.
Oh, that was the word?
Yes.
Oh, I don't even know. I'd be saying so much great stuff. I don't even know what you be commenting
on. Anything else you want to add?
Reward me with sex. You laughed. But quality sex is my number one love language.
First of all, quality sex is not a love language. That's first of all. Yeah, I think what has to happen is, we need therapy.
We need individual therapy and then couples therapy. Yeah. Individual first.
I'm going to individual therapy.
I'm going.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on the Love Hour. I'm your host, Miss Kev on Stage. He is Kev on Stage. We want to tell you we have like 6 more dates left of the tour. The next ones don't worry about by the time this comes out. But if you're in North Carolina or New York, you can still get your tickets in August.
No Love Hour in New York.
Right.
There's no Love Hour.
No, I know.
Oh, they said if you're in New York.
There's still tickets available for the comedy show.
Oh, shoot. There's probably 20 tickets left to that show. I forgot to check.
Well,
the Thursday sold out. The Wednesday, there is tickets left. This would be Toronto. This week, there's still some tickets left.
Yeah, Toronto's.
Oh, not many, though. Nope. Both New York shows just sold out.
Okay, so lies. So if you're in North Carolina, there will be both shows, and you can go to that. That's at the end of August. And then the Love Hour conference, we haven't talked much about, but that is still going on. VIP is sold out, but general admission is still open. That's it. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you to our sponsors, ShipStation, Brewmate, Third Love, and Open Fit. Thank you for supporting the podcast. And that's it. We'll see you next time.